Hi guys, it's Morgan and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about episode 4 of season 2 of Daredevil Born Again. Now, if you haven't seen the episode, there will be spoilers in this review, so stop watching if you don't want to be spoiled. So, here's my review of episode 4 of season 2 of Daredevil Born Again. You could tell that Poindexter was enjoying himself when he called in the fake tip to the anti-vigilante task force and told them that he saw Frank Castle, aka the Punisher. And when members of the anti-vigilante task force showed up at the diner where Poindexter was, Poindexter killed them. But when he told one of the other people at the diner that he was one of the good guys, I couldn't help but think, you might be trying to become a good guy, but you have a lot of work to do before you officially become one. I loved the moment when Jack told Daredevil that he wasn't a hero, he was now a symbol of hope for an entire city, since it was true. I also liked when, even though Karen was understandably worried about letting Angela take the SD card to her source since it was dangerous, she ended up letting Angela do it. It was also a really powerful moment when Daredevil noticed that Angela was wearing Hector's amulet of power, and he asked Angela if she understood the responsibility that came from wearing it, and Angela said that she did, and Daredevil asked her if she was ready, and Angela asked him if he was. But before he could answer her, he heard a noise, and Daredevil, Karen, and Angela got ready to fight whoever it was, but it turned out to be Christoph Sava, who was the first mate of the Northern Star, and he wanted to help them. It was understandable that Vanessa felt like Fisk was sending her away and shutting her out before his fight, but Fisk told her that that wasn't what he was doing and that he was sending her away to keep her safe since the fight was in a public place and things could go wrong. And that was also understandable, since even though Fisk is a horrible person, he loves Vanessa and doesn't want her to get hurt. Also, when Daredevil and Karen were talking about how Christoph had to talk to an attorney and give them a statement about how Fisk was smuggling things on the Northern Star and that he was protecting the crew, it made sense that they both decided that the attorney should be Kirsten. It also made sense when Daredevil and Karen realized that Fisk's fight wasn't just a trap for Daredevil, it was also a trap for Bullseye, since Fisk knew that they'd both be there, and Daredevil told Karen that he was going to look for Bullseye. It was also really sweet when Daredevil told Karen that he loved her, and she told him that she loved him too. I was proud of Kirsten when she stood up to the anti-vigilante task force when they showed up at her office looking for Jack. It was also funny when she told them that maybe Jack was hiding under the files or behind the wall made of glass. It also made sense why Fisk was annoyed by Mr. Charles when he wanted to move the weapons that were on the Northern Star to another ship, since Fisk didn't want a repeat of what happened to the Northern Star. But I was surprised when Buck put his hands up after Mr. Charles had two men with guns come into the warehouse, since Buck never seemed to be the type of person who would do something like that. But it ended up being a trick, since when after Mr. Charles told Buck that he could put his hands down, Buck shot the two men. And since Mr. Charles said shit after Fisk and Buck left the warehouse, it's clear that things are not going the way he planned. And since we found out in episode 1 that Mr. Charles is working for Val, what are the chances that we'll get a Julia Louis-Dreyfus cameo before this season ends? I understood why Kirsten asked Karen where Matt was, but it also made sense when Karen told Kirsten that she couldn't answer that. But it was good that Karen told Kirsten that Matt was safe, and it was also good that Kirsten agreed to take Kristoff's statement and Karen filmed it. Since I've been hoping that the governor of New York would revoke Fisk's charter on Red Hook, I was hoping that whatever Vanessa planned to do during her meeting with the governor wouldn't make the governor not revoke the charter. And I also didn't blame the governor for not understanding why Vanessa was with Fisk, but Vanessa told her that she loved Fisk, and my hope of the charter getting revoked wasn't looking good, since the governor told Vanessa that she couldn't sleep at night supporting Mayor Fisk, but she can support Mayor and Mrs. Fisk. It was smart of Matt to disguise himself as a member of the anti-vigilante task force and search the scene at the diner where Poindexter had fought some of the members of the anti-vigilante task force. And then Matt went to the church and talked to the priest in training who Poindexter had talked to. And at first, he didn't want to tell Matt where Poindexter was, and he only did once Matt told him that if he didn't find Poindexter, more people would die. And it also wasn't a surprise that Daredevil started fighting Poindexter when he got to his apartment. And even though Poindexter told Daredevil that he wanted to do one good thing, which was a thing that Daredevil would never do, kill Fisk, and even though that would solve a lot of problems, Daredevil understandably didn't agree with that plan, since he didn't want Fisk to become a martyr. Angela's friend, who Angela gave the SD card to, was really smart when he walked over to BB and Daniel and acted like he was a big fan of BB, and when they were posing for a picture, he slipped the SD card into BB's pocket. But I am nervous about the look that Daniel gave BB, since you could tell that he was suspicious about what had just happened. It was also really sad when Buck killed Kristoff, since I was hoping he would survive, especially since he was risking his life helping Daredevil and Karen. But I am wondering how Buck knew where Kristoff would be. So it looks like there might be someone on Daredevil and Karen's team who they think they can trust, but is actually a traitor. However, when Karen told Kristoff that the Marshals were on their way and that they would keep him safe, it was only Karen, Kristoff, and Kirsten in the room, and I definitely don't think Kirsten would turn them in. But is it possible that when the anti-vigilante task force were raiding Kirsten's office, they could have put a bug on her without her knowing, so they heard Karen tell Kristoff that the Marshals were coming? Fisk was obviously distracted when he saw Vanessa arriving to his fight, since he had told her not to come because he knew that Bullseye was after both of them. But he ended up winning anyway. But he was right to be worried, since after he told Vanessa that she had to leave, Bullseye showed up, and then Daredevil showed up and kind of fought with Bullseye, but also stopped Fisk from killing him. And the episode ended with the reveal that a shard from the ornament that Bullseye had thrown had pierced the side of Vanessa's head, and she was bleeding and collapsed. I've said this before, but even though Fisk is a horrible person, he really loves Vanessa, and you could see that in this scene when he was panicking and asking someone to call an ambulance. But when you think about it, what happened to Vanessa is partly Fisk's fault, since he used his belt to break the ornament, which caused all the shards of glass to go flying everywhere, and one of them pierced Vanessa. So if he hadn't done that, it's possible Vanessa would have been okay. Now, if you're watching this before episode 5 of season 2 comes out, let me know in the comments if you think Vanessa is dead or not. I guess there's always the chance that she could survive if the ambulance gets there in time, and maybe she'll be in a coma. But if she's dead, then we can all expect that Fisk is going to get a lot worse than he already is. I mean, he's already a villain, but Vanessa is able to keep him calm. So with her gone, all bets are off. And since the governor told Vanessa that she would only support Fisk as long as Vanessa's with him, if Vanessa's dead, then there's a chance the governor will revoke the charter. Thanks for watching, guys! If you saw the episode, let me know in the comments what you thought about it. And if you want to see any of my previous Daredevil Born Again reviews, check out the playlist. And if you want to see my future Daredevil Born Again reviews, or any of my other future videos, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!